day of your ordinations and the Thanksgiving Masses, I said, "Thank you, Lord, for the increase of ministers of your word and sacraments in the church." As I watched the crowd rejoicing with you, I see also the multitude that you have been called to minister to. Indeed, the priest is called to love and to serve. Let's continue. I congratulate you for being found worthy, in quote. I recall that moment when the MC used the microphone in the cathedral and announced, "Let those to be ordained priests kindly come forward." If he had allowed you to come out quietly, perhaps it may have been said by people he was coerced into accepting priestly ordination. But the MC at such occasion, like ordination, will go further to proclaim your names one by one. He will call each of the ordinands by name, and you will answer, "Present," or "I am ready and willing." This response, "I am ready and willing," is an open declaration before the people of God that you have consciously and deliberately decided, chosen, and accepted freely without any form of coercion, reservation, either actual or virtual, with full recognition of the implications of your choice, to respond to God's call to serve Him and His church, and to serve Him as a priest in the Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. What each priest needs to know is simply this, that this decision comes with a lifetime commitment and obligation to live the priestly life according to the mind of the church and not according to the whims and caprices of the ordinance, not according to your whims and your caprices. Father Stanislaus continued. He says, "My beloved brothers in the one priesthood of Christ, the rite of sacred ordination is never to be understood only as a formal initiation or induction into the Catholic priesthood. It is far more than that. It is a sacrament, and in this sacrament, the ordinand, that is you as a priest, for instance, you are consecrated alter Christus, that is another Christ. And by this sacrament, you become sacramentally the Christ that the faithful see. When you bless, it is Christ that blesses. When you speak, it is Christ who speaks. When you console the broken, it is Christ that consoles. And when you teach, it is Christ that teaches." Now, this is another interesting part. On the other hand, when by your doings you are mocked, it is Christ that is mocked. When you are hated, it is Christ that is hated. When you are rejected for being who you are, it is Christ that is rejected. And when people appreciate you, this is beautiful. It is the good Lord, your Master, who has called you, Christ Himself, that is appreciated. Therefore, live lives that glorify God and that give glory to Christ Himself always. And so, there is no gain saying that today's priests face challenges. See, I was once at a place and I told somebody, for my younger brother seminarians, if you are not strong and if you are not totally relying on the grace of God disposing yourself, please don't come to the priesthood. The life is challenging pastorally, spiritually, economically, socially. But you have to strike a balance in all and be ready to be judged. For a newly ordained priest, the first challenge that faces you may not be spiritual or pastoral. Maybe because you are not in charge of souls directly yet. Certainly may not be social. There is a challenge of transformation from a simple seminarian, perhaps from a humble family where you may not have been born with a silver spoon in your mouth. When people see you as that little boy of yesterday, Market Village Squares, and other sports together with your friends, schoolmates, juniors, male and female friends, walk the same streets with them. They may even liken you to your background, of course, like Jesus Himself. Is that not the carpenter's son? Don't worry. The transformation to a public figure with a special status in the eyes of not only your parents, but the entire community. One of my greatest surprise after ordination was when my father knelt before me asking for my blessing. And I haven't done that. He grabbed my hand and touched his head. Daddy, just eat. The situations become even more complicated when you see yourself as an I have made it individual. Be careful. We must be careful and be guided by humility. Again, not the ceremony of ordination, but the reception that follows your ordination can be a very tempting one to a young priest who will never dreamt of owning a car, possibly for a very long time, because you could walk if you were not a priest, own your businesses and enterprises, and own your cars if you want to. Again, whose mates are still struggling to achieve something in life. Perhaps whose mates are not even thinking of marrying or settling down yet. The tendency is to think that you are now far above them in the social status. Be careful, please be careful. True that you may seem to be above them, rather, but when you allow these thoughts get into your head, you're beginning to cut into pride. Be careful. Pride sets in. You may find yourself drifting away downward the slope. With pride, every other person would at best be your equal again and need not be respected. Recognize who you are. You're a priest. Get it hot from you. Sometimes you can allow it get into your heart and you begin to misfire. You are most certainly going to be an unfulfilled priest if you tread this path. Do not allow the seeming affluence you witness, thanks to the numerous gifts you received from people, especially at your Thanksgiving masses. They will come. Warm embraces will come. But the thing is, as time passes by, your circle phases, the younger ones come through, the same circle continue, you're going to be left alone to deal with the priesthood. So the earlier that is realized and taken, the better for your priesthood. My dear friends, as a matter of fact, in most cases, the people start seeing you as a wealthy man called to respond to their needs. Yes, the fact is that you're a very wealthy man. Nobody is going to deny that. But you know what? You are not wealthy materially. Wealth is deeply spiritual and pastoral. By your formation and our formation as priests, the church has equipped you and each and every one of us with spiritual and pastoral needs of the faithful to fulfill. Do not give them opportunity to see you as the great provider. I beg, you are not the provider of all their needs. Most of all, provider of the spiritual needs. And very often they may not be satisfied in little physical needs that you can support them. Therefore, in all you do for charity's sake. Works done for the sake of charity are never challenging and demanding, because you do it sacrificially. It is only pride that will make you think that you have it all. You are just struggling to begin, like every one of us, the young priests. Do not allow the euphoria of the social change to impact negatively on your young and tender mind and priesthood. Please. Therefore, what should you do to overcome this? Now, Father Stanislaus went further to provide us some advice. First, be sure not to abandon your prayer life. Your breviary, your rosary, and your visits to the Blessed Sacrament is very, very sacrosanct and must be your companions, especially at this very beginning of your ministry and of the priesthood. Your ministry to the Blessed Virgin Mary, the mother of priests, and always seek her intercession. 2, do not presume. Don't presume anything. Always consult, dear young priest. See, consult, and consult. Ask questions. For the first time in your life, you are not seeing yourself as a priest. Learn to walk the ropes. Small. By consulting those who were there before you, those who have had experiences, some very tough, some very funny, some very beautiful. Pay attention to the advices and corrections. There is no way me and you, who are young priests, who are just beginning our lives, can claim to be more knowledgeable than the elders who have been there for years ahead of us. We must therefore learn from their rich experiences